One of my passions at this stage in my ministry, this would be my second go-around of evangelizing. I evangelized at a very young age in my early 20s, and now at 43, one of my passions is to try to help the young small church pastor. And I feel like I have a little perspective on that. I pastored 2 churches. My first church was in Summersville, Illinois, Mount Vernon, Illinois, Summersville Pentecostal Church, and they are great people. That was some of the best times of my life. But when I first went there, the church was down numerically and financially. We didn't have a lot of resources. As a young pastor, first-time pastor, I'd come out of Bible school and went immediately on the evangelistic field, so I didn't have resources myself. So there was times when our church needed a revival. I'll be honest, those natural things came into my mind and maybe hindered me from calling someone that I felt like would really help our church. For example, we didn't have an evangelist quarter, so I started thinking, okay, if I call this family in from 12 hours away as a host, I need to take care of them financially. I need to find lodging for a family of, husband, wife, and 4 children. I need to feed them for a week. And again, I know those are natural things, but they are concerns that a host pastor has. And so there were times that maybe I didn't call that larger family in because I just did not feel that we could adequately take care of them. And didn't have them when I felt like, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted that voice of experience, that former pastor that could come in and help me and help my church. And so now that I look back, I'm 43 years old now, I look back from that perspective, and I do feel like some of these young pastors still deal with that because I hear it in their voice when they call me. They'll call and say, Brother Pascarella, let's talk about having a revival, and right away I hear myself from back when I was 25 in their voice, and they're saying things like, we can't give you a big offering. I don't know where I'm going to keep you yet. I'm trying to work these things out. And my burden, I know how bad those churches need revival. I remember how I needed that fire to be, started in our church. I needed that direction from an older minister who had been experienced. And so, yeah, I want to be able to go to those churches and let them know, hey, it doesn't matter what you can do in supporting us. We are here to help you. We are here to encourage you, and we are here to alleviate some of that burden. And when you called me and mentioned that your ministry was going to take us on in a supporting role, it was such an answer to prayer right then, because I had been praying and trying to figure out some outside ways to generate some income. It's difficult when you're preaching 45 weeks out of the year and you only got 7 free weeks to figure that out. But I was praying about some other ways to generate income. And that way, when you go into these churches and these young pastors have these concerns, sometimes you can turn around and bless them. Instead of them taking you out to eat on their dime, you can help them, take them out to eat. You can buy them some books, some supplies that you pick up on that they're needing, things like that. So that is one of my burdens right now at 43 years old, thinking about how I was as a first-time pastor at 25. I'd like to be able to encourage them, help them, and ease some of that burden that they have and some of that intimidation of having a larger family to take care of when they call in an evangelist. If you are asking me to sum up my vision as an evangelist right now, I think the easiest way I could say that is this. I want to evangelize the sinner, I want to energize the saints, and then I want to encourage the shepherd. That's the 3 things I think about when I go in. I want to leave that pastor from fellowship and from the way the services go. You want to encourage the pastor, encourage the shepherd. You want to reach the lost, evangelize the sinner, and you want to energize the saints. And the best way I can think of doing that is through preaching the scriptures and the power of the Spirit. We want the Holy Ghost to come by and just, we want to see Pentecostal revival in these end times that we're living in. Right before the rapture, I want to see the Holiness Pentecostal Church have a true revival of a true Pentecostal outpouring. And I think of my life growing up, I was privileged. I caught the tail end ministry of Brother Don Rich, Brother Ralph Horton, so many powerful preachers that came through, and then men like Joey Height, Brother Lloyd Shoecraft. They were evangelists when I was young, and of course I don't compare myself to them in any way, but I think of those voices of Pentecostal holiness preaching that came through and encouraged us young folks and inspired us that the days of revival are not over. And that's really what I don't consider my ministry cutting edge or any better than anyone else's, but I am a voice on the field right now, and I hope I can pick up that mantle in some ways and just remind this younger generation that we can still win the lost. We can still have a move of the Holy Ghost. We can still see signs and healings and wonders just like they did back then. So that is our vision right now. Well, I'm so very thankful for your vision, Brother Clayton, and those that you have connected with that are a part of this. I think about a verse Paul was writing to Timothy, I believe it was, and he spoke of the household of Onesiphorus, I believe it was at that time, who he said, they often refresh me. And we don't know all the names of those people, but they partnered with Paul, and I believe when they got to heaven, they had a part in that reward. No telling what all they did. Maybe they gave to him, maybe they encouraged him, but they had a part in that ministry. We don't know their names, but everyone knows the Apostle Paul wrote most of the New Testament, did so many mighty things for God, but there were people behind him that were encouraging him, holding him up. And I think that's what, again, being on both sides, evangelizing, going into our 7th year now total, and then pastoring 15 years, I see everybody's not called to go, but everyone is called to sow. I can't go to Africa, I can't go to Mexico perhaps, but I can sow into these other ministries that are going there, and we all have a reward in that together. So I'm so thankful for the opportunities I've had to sow into ministries, and now I'm on the other end of some of that, and people are helping us take the gospel. We couldn't do it. We couldn't do it without the support of the Holiness people and the help of the Holiness people. So I just want to encourage everyone, not just towards our ministry, but find a missionary you can support, find a ministry that you can support maybe outside of just your home church. Of course, we always encourage your main giving, your tithing, of course, goes to the home church, but there are other ways that we can be a blessing right down here at the end of time and send in the light, as we sing that old hymn, send the light, the blessed gospel light. And even those who are not called to preach, but you can have a great part in spreading the gospel, winning souls. So many times people give to us. We preach a revival and then we go down the road and they helped us get there. And things that happen in that next revival, I believe God's going to credit it to the account of those who gave to us and supported us. So there is a tremendous blessing, and I just want to encourage everyone to get behind the Holiness Ministries, because we feel like we have the message, we have the truth, and we just got to get it out there. So thank you for the way you're helping make that happen.